to Grand River Unitarian Congregation. In the words of Tanya Y. Marquez, it is a wonder and mystery that our paths have crossed, that in the immensity of time, in the vastness of space, we coincide here. I am in awe at the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine, at the beauty we create when we gather. May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more caring, and more loving. May our hearts and minds be open to this offering. I am so glad you are here. Let us worship. Let us marvel at the miracle of being here right now and the mystery that has brought us together. My name is Kate Urquhart, for those who don't know me. I used to attend GRU on a regular basis, and I attended many GRU events. Then I moved to St. Catharines in Niagara and sought a new spiritual home, a new community to belong to. As it turned out, I cannot replace GRU. And I can't replace all of you or the joyful, meaningful, and thought-provoking Sunday services. As I read in the opening words, I am so glad you are here. Whether this is your first time in worship with us or your 100th time, we hope that you'll find questions that stretch you, people to befriend you, and liberal religious values that challenge you to join us in loving boldly, living justly, and welcoming radically. I have 2 announcements that I've been given to read. The first is all caps, food bank bags. These familiar collection bags can no longer be delivered with the newspaper, so the Food Bank of Waterloo Region has asked us for help to distribute them. Take one home. Are they here? Yeah. In the foyer. Okay. Take one home, fill it up, and drop it off at any fire or police station or local collection point, or bring it to GRU on June 15th, and organizer Ann Dahmer will get it to the food bank. Number 2, have you ever wondered, what do you say after you say, I'm a UU? Join Rev Jess for 2 conversations about being a Unitarian Universalist. The start date for this course has been delayed until June 11th. Please RSVP to Rev Jess if you want to be part of this conversation. And Scott Campbell has an invitation to share.
So you may or may not have seen this in the tab, but basically it's quite simple. After the service today, we're going to try a new little thing of meeting together about halfway down. The pew's on that side over there, which would be to my right, right as I'm standing right now. So that we're going to have about 8 minutes of silent contemplation, meditation, with quiet intention to contemplate the service, or the past week, or the upcoming week, or maybe best of all, being here and now. I'll set a timer, and after it rings, we can just go off to coffee hour or out into the wider world. Thanks.
I'm afraid if it gets too close to this one, they'll scream at each other. Now, let us let go, for now, of the everyday world, and create space in this hour to simply be together. In the spirit of life and love, we gather. May the experience of this time prove useful and timely to all assembled here. Please rise in body or in spirit to sing our opening hymn, number 407, and we're going to sit at the welcome table.
Kathleen McTeague writes, "Here in the refuge of this Sabbath home, we turn our busy minds toward silence and our full hearts toward one another. We move together through the mysteries, the bright sunshine of birth and the shadowed questions of death. In our slow walk between the two, we will be wounded and we will be showered with grace, amazing, unending. Even in our sorrows, we feel our lives cradled in holiness we cannot comprehend. And though we each walk within a vast loneliness, the promise we offer here is that we do not walk alone. This is a holy place in which we gather, the light of the earth brought in and held, touched then by our answering light. The flame on a chalice, the flicker of a candle, the lamps of our open faces brought near. In this place of celebration, solemnity, and music, we make a sanctuary and name our home. Into this home, we bring our hunger for awakening. We bring compassionate hearts and a will toward justice. Into this home, we bring the courage to walk on after hard losses. Into this home, we bring our joy and gratitude for ordinary blessings. By our gathering, we bless this place. In its shelter, we know ourselves blessed. Let this flame be to us a symbol of the wholeness we seek. Its glow reminding us of the sacred bonds which link us to all people.
Its radiance calling us to seek justice, equity, and compassion for all the world.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in harmony with the earth. Thus do we covenant together. Children of all ages are invited forward for a story with Pia.
Moody Cow Meditates by Carrie Lee MacLean. My name is Moody Cow. It used to be Peter, but now it's Moody Cow. It all started one stupid, rotten day when everything went wrong. First, I had a bad dream. A very bad dream, which involved a giant three-eyed alien. What a rotten day to what a rotten way to wake up. I wanted to find my mom and tell her about the giant three-eyed alien, but I couldn't find her anywhere. So I admit I was in a bad mood to begin with. Then I couldn't find my skateboard. Turned out my sister had borrowed it. Daisy, stop drawing on my skateboard. Maybe I overreacted when I pulled her tail, but it was a brand new skateboard. So then Daisy had to get me back by stripping me down the stairs. What a monster. So that made me mad. So mad that I could cut her doll's hair off on purpose. Of course, I got in trouble for that, which made me miss the bus. I had to ride my bike all the way to school in the snow. That made me really mad. On the way home from school, I hit a snow bank and scraped my knee. There was blood everywhere. The rest of the way, I couldn't stop thinking about how my rotten day was really Daisy's fault. She put me in a bad mood by drawing on my new skateboard. Or maybe it was that giant three-eyed alien's fault for giving me bad dreams. Whatever, I was so mad I couldn't see straight. When I turned into the driveway, I crashed right into my dad's truck. Well, you can understand that would, with a bloody knee and a banged up nose. I was madder than ever, super mad. Then I did something crazy. I picked up my baseball and threw it right through the window on purpose. Unfortunately, my mom saw the whole thing. "What on earth do you think you're doing?" she yelled. "Have you lost your mind?" She came outside, took a look at my super mad, rotten face, and I guess she felt sorry for me. "Aw, are you a little moody cow?" Of course, my sister Daisy heard her say that and started shouting, "Moody cow, Peter is a moody cow." The next thing I knew, all the kids in the neighborhood joined in. "We need Grandfather said," Mom said, and picked up the phone. Pretty soon, my grandfather was sitting in the sunroom on a meditation cushion. I got to sit on one too. "I hear they're calling you Moody Cow," Grandfather said and smiled. I couldn't help by smiling a little, I guess. Moody Cow is a kind of funny name. "See this?" he asked, as he pointed to a jar of water. "And this is your mind," he said. "And these," he held out a little dish of sparkles, "are your angry thoughts." "That," I said, "is a jar of water, and those are Daisy's fairy dust sparkles. Come on, Mr. Moody Cow, work with me here. Now, what we're going to do is put in a pinch of sparkles for every angry thought you have. Then we're going to sit here until they all settle down at the bottom. By the time the water is clear again, your anger will have all settled down." "It won't work," I told him. "Let's just see." I took a pinch of sparkles and dropped it into the water. "Which angry thought is that?" Grandfather asked. That three-eyed alien. It tried to gobble me up last night." "Oh, I see. Rotten way to start the day." "Okay, what else?" I put in another pinch for the next angry thought. "This is having to clean the toilet for a whole month for breaking the window. I hate cleaning the toilet." "Me too. What else?" I put in one more pinch of sparkles, and he said, "That is Daisy," and said, "That is Daisy drawing on my brand new skateboard with a marker." "Oh dear, she did that?" Grandfather sighed. "Okay, what else?" "This pinch is when I missed the bus and had to ride my bike to school in the snow. You can ride through the snow? Grandfather asked. I have good tires. Everything else is my way. Everything else. On my way home, I scraped my knee, and I was so mad I crashed into Dad's truck. I think I broke my nose. Ouch, Grandfather said. That must have hurt. It did. When I picked up my baseball, I threw it through the window on purpose. Wow, you should put in a double pinch for that one. I guess you really did have a moody cow day. I sure did. Is that all? Grandfather asked. Yeah, but it's a lot. It sure is. Grandfather put the lid on the jar, shook it up real good. This jar is like your mind right now, he said. Your angry thoughts bouncing around all over the place. Now, let's see what happens when we let your angry thoughts settle down, Grandfather said, putting the mind jar down in front of me. Just sit quietly and see what happens. I sat up real straight, and then I got to ring the bong. Bong. I sat watching all my angry thoughts swirl around like crazy in the jar. A few thoughts slowed down and sank to the bottom. A few more and a few more. It was so still I could feel my heart beating. It was quiet. I could hear my breath going in and out. I felt a ray of golden sunshine coming up through the window and warmed my back, started to melt away the last of my anger. Finally, Grandfather rang the bong to end the meditation. He leaned over to whisper in my ear, "Okay, this part is important. Don't move until you can't hear the sound of the gong anymore." I cocked my head, listened closely. Bong. The ring got softer and softer and softer until I couldn't hear it at all. Grandfather smiled and held up the jar. "Well, look at this. All the sparkles have settled down," he said. "And my angry thoughts have too." I said, I guess if I did think about it, I could get mad again." "That's probably true," he said, but we had to work pretty hard to settle them down. Let's not stir them all up again. I laughed for the first time that day. "That thing is cool," I said. "Can I keep it?" "Sure," said Grandfather. He smiled and handed me the jar and the dish of sparkles. A few minutes each day helps keep the moody cow away. I laughed. "Thanks, Grandfather. Can we do this again tomorrow?" "Of course. Let's try to do this together every day." I went to my room and put the mind jar by my bed, just in case the three-eyed alien ever comes back. Now, it's been 2 whole weeks, and I haven't had one moody cow day. But I've decided to keep my name anyway. I kind of like it. The end.
I was going to thank Pia, but of course she would have just left. Thank her later. We are a self-sustaining community that depends on the free will offerings of members and friends. These funds support Sunday services, social justice work, community building, and more. Living in the Niagara region, I'm lucky to get to one service a month, and I attend few, if any, events. I do believe in the work of this church, and I want to support it. Also, I want to contribute to there being a service on Sundays that I can get there, here. As I'm not here each Sunday to add to the collection plate, I've set up pre-authorized donations, and that feels right for me. We recognize that people contribute to this community in many ways, and not always on Sundays. Many, like me, donate through pre-authorized donations or e-transfers, and by sharing time and talent with this community. As you pass the plate, please take a moment to reflect on these many contributions beyond the plate. The morning's offering will now be received.
on Wednesday night, 15 of us gathered for a lament for all that's happening in the world that feels beyond our control. Heartbreaking news that we're surrounded with from war, from U.S. policies. And at the end of that lament, what we held up was a meditation for the helpers. And so, to quote Mr. Rogers, we will light our first candle for all the helpers that give us hope in this world.
I'm Wendy, and this Saturday I'll be celebrating my birthday at Tri Pride. I hope you'll all join me.
Good.
Good morning. My name is Ida Fisher. I've been a long time pillar of this wonderful community. I'm lighting a candle of gratitude to my soulmate, Wayne Fisher, who's supporting me through my journey with cancer. And I trust that his journey with his cancer is going to give us more stamina to keep living. I wanted to introduce you to my new friend, my Meta glasses that talk to me. They're AI glasses, not invented for blind people, invented for young people who like to take pictures. So I just have to talk to Meta. I say, hey, Meta, take a picture of the beautiful woman. Tell me what I see, and it talks to me. So I just wanted to introduce you to Meta. It's amazing.
Welcome to GRU Meta. It's not all evil.
My name's Corliss. I'm lighting a candle of gratitude for that lament on Wednesday and for the companionship of a number of you who were there yesterday at a protest against Bills 5 and 6, Ontario's own tentative steps towards authoritarianism. So listening to comments on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission this morning, we're all called to do something. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do something where we have to stand up. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mel. I lit a candle of love and gratitude for my little doggy Joplin, who we had to say goodbye to on Friday.
Hello. I recently attended Canoodle, which is the Canadian Unitarian Universalist Youth Con in Montreal, and it's probably the coolest thing I've ever done in my life to date. And it was so cool seeing other Unitarian youth. I met people from like across the country, and I think that was wonderful. So I lit a candle for that.
Thank you, Isabel. That gives me a helpful segue to say next Sunday's service is our annual youth-led service by the Whatevers group, who, like Isabella, have just come back from Canoodle, the youth gathering. Don't miss it. Don't miss it, because when you are feeling like there's no hope in the world, listening to what these young people say will sustain you.
I light a candle of extreme joy because my dad has come here for 3 weeks. We usually don't have him here, and he's helping us with our renovation of our new house. So really, really thankful.
I've lit a candle of hope for a dear friend who's been suffering a lot of medical conditions for the last year. I go and try to help, and I'm learning how to step back instead of always stepping forward to help people, to let things be. If you can't fix them. I know I've got 12 fixes that would help, but until someone's ready, you have to have the wisdom to let go. And I have gratitude for all of the people of the world. I meet them on the streets. I don't care if they're laughing at me or with me when I have a few comments, but generally, we have a lighter day.
Thank you, MJ. Take a deep breath in. Let this mix of joys and sorrows, joy and woe, just let it enter into your heart. We'll light a final candle for all those joys and sorrows here unspoken, but precious among us in our hearts. Will you please join with me in singing our pastoral song? It's in your order of service. The meditation today is by a beloved UU minister and mentor, Richard Gilbert. This is based on a quote by E.B. White. I rise in the morning torn between the desire to save the world or to savor it, to serve life or to enjoy it, to savor the taste of my own joy, or to share the bitter cup of my neighbor, to celebrate life with exuberant step, or to struggle for the life of the heavy laden. What am I to do when the guilt at my bounty clouds the sky of my vision, when the glow which lights my every day illumines the hurting world around me? To savor the world or to save it? God of justice, if such there be, take from me the burden of my question. Let me praise my plenitude without limit. Let me cast from my eyes all troubled folk. No. You will not let me be. You will not stop my ears to the cries of the hurt and the hungry. You will not close my eyes to the sight of the afflicted. What is that you say? To save, one must serve. To savor, one must save. The one will not stand without the other. Forgive me in my preoccupation with myself. In my concern for my own life, I had forgotten. Forgive me and make me whole. With no holy days of obligation or otherwise, people tend to come and go from congregational life and come and go from Unitarian Universalism. It's an irony that our open door policy means people are welcome to show up, and then sometimes people just drift away, and we don't always have contact information or consistent measures in place to follow up with folks. And even when we do, to be honest, most people don't respond to an email from me saying, "Hey, haven't seen you in a while, why not?" That's why one particular response has stuck with me over these many years. I had reached out to check in on a family who had eagerly engaged, asked many questions, and seemed very keen on having discovered Unitarian Universalism, and then just as suddenly disappeared. We'd had an ongoing email conversation, and so I reached out to check in and was relieved and grateful when I saw he had responded. Amidst a handful of compliments, assurances, and apologies, he wrote, "My participation at the congregation was overall a good experience. It was very easy for me to feel comfortable with this group. It seems to be a very welcoming environment." But it seems a little too welcoming for him, because he continued, "The last Sunday that I attended was Valentine's Day. Your messages are inspiring and new. What surprised me was that the children's story dealt with the ideas of gay, lesbian, and transgender love. I guess I feel that this is an adult or youth discussion, and though I am sympathetic to the issues, it did not seem appropriate. During the service, it was also announced there would be a panel discussion on how to be proactive about furthering the rights as a church of gay, lesbian, and transgender persons. Given that the Unitarian Universalist Church allows for a kind of build your own theology, I was surprised that you would be evangelical on an issue that is far from universally accepted." The visitor went on to prove his sympathy, explaining that he has family members who he has not disavowed, even though they are gay. He believes that this is being supportive without being polarizing. He closed by welcoming further discussion in the event that he had misunderstood who we are. Now, on first reading, I was really upset by this note. Oppression and prejudice have many faces, and its most vile is that which hides behind the mask of propriety and invisible privilege. I bristled over his sense of inclusion, that he dared feel welcome among us, but discounts the need to stand for others who are not welcomed in circles of society. I was disgusted and shaken. After an evening of meditation and reflection, I found the good news in this story. Our visitor had accused us of being Unitarian Universalists. In less than a month, we had shown him who we are. Why did it take so long? We were guilty of being who we aspired to be and claimed to be as Unitarian Universalists. I agree with Reverend Richard Gilbert, who many of you know as the author of the popular class, Build Your Own Theology. He says that as Unitarian Universalists, we are bound to a prophetic imperative. Imperative, explains Gilbert, has to do with a compulsion of conscience, personal and corporate, a sense of urgency to live out the ethical implications of religious faith. Such a religious mandate has sources inherent in the very nature of the liberal religious community, rather than an externally transcendent source, although the latter may be decisive for some among us. And prophetic, he says, in the sense that the prophets of old understood justice-making as the primary expression of our purpose and way of finding meaning in life. Put another way, we are called as Unitarian Universalists to live our principles out loud and to work toward our aspirations to remain deeply connected, radically inclusive, actively engaged, theologically alive, and spiritually grounded. We are called to keep love at the center. What our visitor had misunderstood is that in our invitation to celebrate the power of individuals and individual choice, that we are also aware we must not become paralyzed by a preoccupation with the private. Gilbert writes, social change requires the mobilization of individual energies into communal power. Freedom, by its very nature, places an imperative claim on the free person to expand that freedom to all. None of us are free until all of us are free. And so, I deleted the many righteous paragraphs of rebuttal and defense that I had drafted as an email, and instead I responded to the visitor with 2 sentences. You are not mistaken about who we are. I'm not surprised you've chosen to leave us. The Reverend Henry Meserve said, if you are arrested for being a Unitarian Universalist, would there be enough evidence to convict you? It is a peculiar challenge for Unitarian Universalism to define itself. We aim to draw the circle wide while keeping our center deliberately empty and open. We exalt individual choice while encouraging communal responsibility. Our 8 principles, 6 sources, and 5 aspirations, which you can find listed in the front pages of the hymnals, provide a compass, but not a direction, a landscape, but not a map. So what are we as Unitarian Universalists? Douglas Steer, a Quaker teacher, says that the ancient question, what am I, inevitably leads to a deeper one. Whose am I? Because there is no identity outside of relationships. You can't be a person by yourself. To ask, whose am I, is to extend the questions far beyond the little self-absorbed self and wonder, who needs you? Who loves you? To whom are you accountable? To whom do you answer? Whose life is altered by your choices? With whose life, whose lives is your own all bound up inextricably in obvious or invisible ways? Ask yourself that question. Whose are you? The initial answers may come readily. Our roles in our family, our role at work, our role as a volunteer, membership in organizations, neighborhoods, congregations. These are choiceful covenants of belongingness. Ask again, whose are you? And the answers broaden into philosophies and theologies, into politics and social groups. Ask yet again, whose are you? And the answers broaden again as we are held as part of nature in the human family, held by history, by genetics, by the earth and the air and the water and the sun and the stars in the galaxy, all to which we owe our literal existence. We are beholden to music, to peace, to wisdom, to care, and to grace. Whose are you? We are not for ourselves alone. More orthodox denominations might name a certain divinity or scriptural assurance, but we Unitarian Universalists, more paradox than orthodox, point to probabilities and possibilities. For us, to grapple with whose are we is a process to be lived, not a puzzle to be solved. Our 8 principles outline a series of concentric circles of care, each one a compass point by which we may navigate the circumference of whose we are. No single principle taken on its own is an adequate map. Rather, they must be taken as whole to be holy. With this, then, as our context, what would it look like to be a convicted Unitarian Universalist? Unitarian Universalist Association President, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, offers this reflection. She writes, "We are a sanctuary people. There is no question that ideas born of liberal teachings have inspired and continue to inspire so many of us to believe not only that everyone has the right to basic freedoms and equal opportunity, but also that we ourselves have a responsibility to work to ensure those freedoms for all. The challenge is that as inheritors of the beautiful and life-giving side of these teachings, we often forget that they weren't always written with the entire human family, much less the entire earth family, in mind. I think that it is sometimes difficult to hold the multiple truths that something we hold dear and which often has been life-giving for us can also be painfully limited in scope or has been used to harm others. So, how do we proceed as authoritarianism is on the rise, both domestically and around the world, all while the President of the United States freely admits his intent to limit the well-being of so many beloveds? We must remember that we are a sanctuary people, not only in collaborating around the work of justice, but also in providing nourishment and shelter for our own spirits, so that we do not give up in the face of all that is. This is when communal care is most important. Times like these are where faith communities find their purpose. Marge Piercy wrote, alone you can fight, you can refuse, you can take what revenge you can, but they roll over you. But two people fighting back to back can cut through a mob. A snake dancing file can break a cordon. An army can meet an army. Two people can keep each other sane, can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope, sex. Three people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge. With four, you can play bridge and start an organization. With six, you can rent a whole house, eat pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a fundraising party. A dozen make a demonstration. 100 fill a hall. 1,000 have solidarity and your own newsletter. 10,000 power and your own paper. 100,000 your own media. 10 million your own country. It goes on one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again after they said no. It starts when you say we and know who you mean. And each day you mean one more. Let our commitment be to find ourselves guilty as charged when we are accused of being Unitarian Universalists. It is now my honor to welcome Kathy Mastardi and members of our Community Builders team forward for a new member ceremony, celebrating and welcoming a dozen people who have chosen a mutual commitment to this, our sanctuary home, Grand River Unitarian Congregation.
Hello. Our process of membership carries 3 expectations: the gift of your presence among us, the sharing of your resources with us, and your commitment to deepen your understanding of our faith. We have 13 members to recognize today. Oops.
Joyce Reeser and Ivan Emke. Gordon Lamoth, Colleen Gallagher. Please come up. Anna Gascon Marco. Hunter Soper and Emily Boone.
We might need both steps here.
Anka Sager and Florian Sager. Anka is not able to be here today and will be signing at another time. Scott Campbell. Kamal Aman. Serena McDarmond. Ray Carney.
While our new members are signing, please turn to the gray hymnals to reading 728 by John Behrens. 728 at the back of the blue hymnal, or gray hymnal. Blessed are those who yearn, all together. Blessed are those who yearn for deepening more than escape, who are not afraid to grow in spirit. Blessed are those who take seriously the bonds of community, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much to minister as to be ministered unto. Blessed are those who bring their children, who invite their friends to come along, to join in fellowship, service, learning, and growth. Blessed are those who support the church and its work by their regular, sustained, and generous giving, who give of themselves no less than their money. Blessed are those who know that the church is often imperfect, yet rather than harbor feelings of anger or disappointment, bring their concerns and needs to the attention of the leaders. Blessed are those who, when asked to serve, do it gladly, who realize that change is brought about through human meeting, who do the work of committees and stay until the end. Blessed are those who speak their minds, who can take and give criticism, who keep their sense of humor. Blessed are those who know that all work of the community is the transformation of society, who have a vision of beloved community, transcending the present, and who not shrink from controversy, sacrifice, or change. Blessed are they all indeed. While we are waiting to finish the signing, you can turn to your order of service and have it ready for our congregational response in a few minutes. It is our privilege to bid each of you welcome. We accept you freely, openly, trustingly. At the same time, will you accept us freely, openly, and trustingly? If you accept, please respond, I will. I will. So together, will the congregation please stand in body or spirit and read the congregational response. We, the members of Grand River Unitarian Congregation, welcome and affirm your presence here. We honor our shared covenant of love, truth, and service. We recognize our connectedness and treasure our differences. Together, we will widen our vision, renew our strength, and offer ourselves to this community and to the world. You are welcome here. Your presence among us enriches all of our journeys.
voice and body or in spirit for number 1021 in the teal hymnals. Chick says, why community? To remember that one is not a whole number, that we need both roots and wings, that strength comes from relationship and mutuality, that we know life in and through one another. Congratulations and welcome, new members of Grand River Unitarian. people say, Amen.